So John, I'd like to talk about deep brain stimulation, or DBS as it's known in short. When did you have DBS?
Just thinking back a year ago, almost exactly, in fact, beginning of November.
What was the process that led up to you having DBS?
That's quite an interesting question, because the people, I think, tend to assume that this is a very simple process and they just say yes or no. In actual fact, it's much more complicated than that. You have all sorts of psychiatric assessments, motor assessments, tests of memory, things like this, to establish that you fit the criteria that they want to use for DBS.
So it's not suitable for everyone. What are some of the reasons you might not have DBS?
Well, I think part of the reason, more than anything, is that you either we talk about a window for DBS. That there's a window of opportunity. Your symptoms have got to be bad enough that they'll be improved by DBS on the one hand, and also not so bad that they're beyond the point where it's retrievable. So you've got kind of a window in the middle there.
Was it a difficult decision for you to make to go ahead with the DBS?
It wasn't particularly for me, because by the time it actually got to signing on the dotted line, so to speak, I had plenty of time to make up my mind. Partly, of course, it was held up by the COVID outbreak as well, so which gave me another year, essentially, of thinking time. It's the only thing that will actually really set the condition back a little way, and it essentially buys you more time. That's the greatest asset of it, I think.
So can you talk a little bit about what it was like to have the operation, how the procedure went?
At the hospital I had the procedure done. The procedure was done entirely under anaesthesia throughout. Some of the centres do it without anaesthesia for the early stages, and then anaesthetic for the latter parts. I was out for just under 9 hours, so and I think that's on the long side, to be honest, but in general it is quite a lengthy procedure.
So it's major brain surgery, and I guess not without its risks.
It's not quite like pointing a loaded gun with one shot in the barrel at your head, but it does carry some risk. The main worries is infections, of course, and they get round us at the place where I had the procedure done by inviting you to use Hibis scrub all over your hair in advance, rather than actually shaving your hair. And believe me, Hibis scrub is not the ideal beauty regime for your hair.
The really important question is, what difference has it made? Has it worked?
Well, for me, it's made a big difference. I was only looking really for improvement in tremor more than anything. And my tremor has gone from being, well, I suppose my tremor would have been like that, and it's now rock steady. And I think that's the biggest difference for me. It's improved my walking slightly. They say that the price you pay for that is often that your speech is slightly more slurred. In general, I think I've come out of it fairly well. I don't think my speech is particularly, if at all, affected.
John, can you just explain how DBS works? I understand there's a battery pack and a controller. How does that work?
Well, the electrode's obviously implanted in the brain. There's one on this side, one on that side, and they go to a connection point at the back here. So that connects then down to the wires which go down to the battery pack, which is essentially just above the ribs. That battery pack is charged in the same way you would a mobile phone. You just have a separate charger which you apply to it, and it's charged through the skin. I had a little trouble myself when I was learning how to do it. I couldn't always get the charger into the right position to charge the battery pack. And this very kindly, they said, we do sometimes have this problem with the fuller-figured gentleman.
And you have a controller to sort of recalibrate it?
I have a controller which, if I need to alter the stimulation parameters, I can do that within a range determined by the neurologist. So if I wanted to go much higher on the stimulation parameters, I have to negotiate with my neurologist on that. But so far I haven't needed to.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
If you're interested in finding out more about Parkinson's, subscribe for a new video every Thursday.